Hey, this is Dr. Mort Orman, and perhaps you can hear the raindrops falling outside. It's been raining here in Baltimore off and on for the last almost 2 weeks in a row, which is kind of unusual weather for us. But anyhow, we've been talking this week about thinking styles and trying to identify different thinking styles, of which there are many, many that we human beings are capable of. And I wanted to focus on one today called the difference between linear and systems thinking. Now, linear thinking is kind of the usual thinking that we normally do. It's kind of very narrowly focused. It's very locally focused. It's not very expansive. It doesn't take in multiple factors all at the same time. It's kind of a convenient way of thinking where we just zero in on a couple aspects of what's really going on in front of us. Whereas systems thinking is kind of a way to break us out of that linear mode or that normal mode and think in broader perspectives and take in more and more of actual reality, what's really happening. So for example, you can think about the heart in many different ways from a system point of view. You could say the heart is a mechanical system. It's a muscular mechanical system, and it pumps blood out of the chambers and brings blood in from the other chambers. So you can look at the heart as a mechanical system. But then you could also say, wait a minute, and we could look at the heart as an electrical system because it has chemical, electrical type activity at a very low level that goes on. And you can look at the heart completely from an electrical system, and there are a lot of parts and components to that system that have been teased out. Another thing is the heart actually produces certain hormones. So you can look at it from a chemical hormonal system perspective. You could say, let's look at the various hormones and chemicals that are secreted by the tissues in the heart. So you can look at it completely from that system point of view. You could also take a little broader perspective and say, okay, well, the heart is just one piece of a broader system called the cardiovascular or circulatory system. And then you can expand your field of vision to include all the veins and the arteries and even the lymphatics and things like that in the body. So you can take different views of the same structure or the same body process, and you can keep expanding your view so you can take in more of what's actually happening. In a similar way, you can do the same thing with looking at your neighborhood where you live as a system and look at all the components in that system. And then you could go out a little further. You can say, okay, we'll take your community or your region or your state, or how about your city or your state or your borough or whatever it is, and expand beyond your neighborhood and look at that as a system. And then, like I said, you can go out to your state and look at your state as a system. Then you can look at your region. What part of the country are you in? And you can just keep going broader and broader. You can actually get out into interplanetary space and expand your vision even to that degree. So that's the difference between systems thinking or systematic thinking and the more usual, typical thinking that we do called linear thinking. And the neat thing about systems thinking is it forces you to expand your view. It forces you to see more of what's already there, what's already happening in the dynamics and the interplay of multiple dynamics when we, as human beings, our default position is to just focus on a few of those things. And sometimes we may think that's all that's going on. But in reality, there's much more going on. And when you get into systems thinking and you keep expanding this different systems and different viewpoints of different systems that you can take, you can see these different aspects of reality that normally will escape your point of view. So that also has something to do with stress, because we tend to miss a lot of what's really going on in life and think we're seeing and perceiving what's real and what's true, when in fact we're only seeing a small part of what's real and what's true. And if you take a broader perspective, sometimes things may look differently, you may understand them differently, and they may generate fewer problems and difficulties in your life. Talk to you later.